So there we go. Now we're on OotiniCast. And thanks. We are live. Good. Stream seems to be working. I'm a little off my game. As you'll see, this is a little different today. This is OotiniCast 45, the live version of the show, going out with all flubs and flaws intact. And then we will clean up the audio, put it out as an audio podcast tomorrow. And then the video version will go out to YouTube. But we do this live, twitch.tv/OotiniCast. And I do say we, although we'll see and we'll talk about why it's just me in just a sec. So anyway, everyone tell Kitty to feel better soon because he's not feeling well. That's basically the reason. But let me go ahead and get the show going here. I'll have a little water and then we'll get the show going properly and we can talk about that. All right. Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that is being hunted by the Empire for its M count. This is episode 485, being recorded on Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. I'm your host, Chill. With me is not with me, is my co-host, KittyKissz. Also, we were going to have a guest today, but everything went, sideways, as sometimes happens. Life does happen this way. So Kitty is feeling ill, unfortunately, so everyone go ahead and send Kitty your best wishes for him to feel better soon. We did have a guest. Hey JD. We're gonna have a guest, Kber76, on. He's been on before, and we were gonna have him back on after some time, but unfortunately he's being held up at work, so it's just me tonight. That's all right though. There's some news to go through and all that good stuff, so we will get the show out, no problem at all. So yes, let's see. So since the last show, I would potentially reschedule it, but then tomorrow I'm going to get my son from college, and of course once he's here, then it gets really busy as well, and then it's going to get even busier after that. So it's a whole mess, but it's all good. So yeah. So what have I done since the last show? Let's see. So did a lot of PvP with Kitty. It's been a lot of fun. We're going to do some more later this week, assuming he feels better. And we actually got past 45 on our characters. I have I'm doing a Magneto cosplay, doing it as a Balance Sage, and he is on a Juggernaut tank. And we went past 45, and so we were in the Hybe range, and yet we kept queuing. I always feel a little worried about that, how weak you sometimes feel at that level, but he just kept queuing us up, and actually it turned out really well. We were doing reasonably well. There was a power difference sometimes when we were up against the 75 to 79ers, but generally we were holding our own, and then even once we just got a few more levels, we were really starting to get better again. So it's feeling really good, and yeah, it's been really good. Actually, it feels really nice because he's doing a lot of good defense, especially in arenas. Where with the war zones, sometimes his defense numbers are really high, sometimes they're not. It just depends on what sort of arena war zone it is and the situation, because everything's very mobile, and if you're doing hut ball, it's sometimes you can get defense, but it's very mobile, and sometimes you can't, and sometimes everyone's split up and all that stuff. So anyway, but with arenas, his numbers are always really solid, so I know how, and I feel way tankier when he's anywhere near me guarding. It's really cool. And so that's been a lot of fun. That's actually been a lot of what I've been doing in terms of streaming. And so we've also been doing the new season now, of course. So we've got the new Copero Stronghold, which is really pretty. The reputation conquest is kind of dead. So it was funny because I was just talking about it on the last show, and it's been nerfed. So if you had the 150% conquest buff, then instead of, it was like over 43,000 points, now it's about 8,300. And they actually did a little post about that, so we'll talk about that later in the show. So it's a lot harder to get the login, sort of just log in, get the conquest for the day. If all if you're just looking for the 25,000 for the daily for Galactic Seasons, it's still possible. And you can probably do it for like 2 characters a week with the reduced reputation reward, plus doing the other ones. And I'll go over that actually as part of my tip of the week here, but I really can't do more than like 2. After that, you really do have to go out and do stuff, which of course is part of the point, as we know, but it's all good. My RoboCop character is now on McKeb, and he's coming right along. I'm really happy with him. I made a Rogue cosplay for the release of X-Men 97 on Disney Plus. Just came out today. I actually watched it last night because it was midnight Pacific time when it launched. So I actually did watch it last night, and I'll go ahead and put the screenshots up there of the character. So. And you can see the difference between that as I made a little like belt change, but I'm not sure which belt I like better. I think I like the first one better, actually, even though it's a little on the pink side. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun. Made her as a scoundrel with a smuggler story, so a rare time in the Legacy of the Sith era where I've actually matched the abilities with the actual story being done. I love to mix it up because when I'm doing a new character, it's really fun to actually feel the story with different abilities. Like, doing the whole like sniper trooper thing was really interesting, and sometimes it's really fun to have like Jedi abilities when you're doing one of the Sith storylines, stuff like that. It really feels good. So anyway, really having fun with Rogue, though. We've done her, we did her yesterday and last night. I did a little stream running up to midnight, and then I stopped it right before the show went live so that I could actually watch X-Men 97. It was really good, too. I was really happy. In fact, I think it's actually kind of better than the original show in a lot of ways, because I did rewatch the series. I had not watched X-Men. I loved it, but I didn't have the DVDs or anything. So I haven't really watched it for quite a while, but I had a very sort of strong nostalgic lens that I was thinking of it through, and I'm watching it again. It is still a good show, but there's some things that kind of show their age or a little wonky in terms of this or that, in terms of some of the ways that they did the storytelling were a little unusual or a little repetitive in some ways. And the last season really unfortunate in terms of they clearly didn't have enough time or money for the animation. The animation level, it's actually really stark. The whole 4 seasons are pretty much look all identical, and then the first 1 or 2 episodes of 5th season look kind of the same, and then all of a sudden it just looks different, and it's wow, they really kicked the money out from under them, didn't they, for this? But especially if you watch the last episode, it's actually still it still holds up really well, and it's actually really quite touching. And that's exactly where X-Men 97 sort of picks up, is right from that last episode. So well worth seeing. It's on Disney Plus. So if you've got Disney Plus because you're a Star Wars fan, as a lot of OotiniCast listeners are, of course. If you've got the Disney Plus, you've got the access to the X-Men as well, which is really cool. So anyway, I'm really happy with the Rogue cosplay. Thanks, Tinner. Tinner is happy with the pictures. So, and so that's been really fun so far. We're still in Act 1, just finished Tatooine actually, and it's pretty early days. I'm doing the brawler, punchy ability, so since that feels closest to her abilities. And it's kind of funny because when she's rocket boosting, that actually feels the most like her flight abilities, but you can't really do that, so I just put her on the Vectron Vertica. It's either that or maybe the jetpacks, but the jetpacks feel too technological, so yeah, we'll stick with the Vectron Vertica, I think, for her. So anyway, let's get on. That'll put us to the tip of the week. And so we'll talk about the reputation nerf. So you can still get conquest points for reputation gains, but it's been nerfed. So basically, because there's a lot of reputation gains added to all the conquests before this one, or sorry, the galactic seasons before this one, there's been, it was becoming easier and easier to actually get the reputation items. So because of that, they've clearly they've nerfed them. So instead of like it was about 43,000 plus if you had the 150% bonus. Now it's about 8,300, something like that. And so it's a lot less. So what do you do if you want to just make sure you're getting the dailies, but maybe you don't have much time to play, or you're doing the thing that I like to do, which is to do a little bit on every server and get to the dailies every day and just sort of work your way through as much of the season as you can that way. Occasionally going out and getting some of the other weeklies done, but mostly getting the 200,000 weekly done and the 25,000 daily done. So there's some things you can do still to get that. One is to make sure you do 5 crew skills, and I just do them and then log out on the character so that when I get on the next day, they're done. That one's done. I don't have to like wait around for some of them to finish or anything like that. So 5 crew skills is one of them. That's a few thousand. You do the influencer, which sometimes you get automatically from the crew skills, but you can't rely on that. You usually have to give gifts to a companion. And there's, obviously just do it whatever way you can. Once you have some credits built up on a server, then, you can always buy gifts from the vendors. That always works. Rank 1 and 2s are relatively inexpensive nowadays, so that's not a bad way to go. Also, you'll be getting scrap. You'll get scrap from high-level missions that fail. You'll get them from login requests, also from gear that you break down. We'll have the scrap, although there's a lot less of that, isn't there? We should talk about that too, and we will, but we'll get to that in a little bit later, because there's a post about that from the devs as well. But in any case, so for Conquest for 25,000, 5 crew skills, companion influencer, and that's actually the majority right there. I do decorator, so you just pick a decoration, and you can make 5 different changes if you want, or you can just grab a decoration that you already have, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, and once you've done that 5 times, that works as well. And then it's a pretty small one though; it's a couple thousand. And then the reputation item. You still want the reputation item, otherwise you're pretty much going to have to do other things. So if you are new to a server and maybe don't have any reputation items to pop, then instead what you can do is you can get a decent amount of points by leveling up a crew skill. So once you're at 700, 700, 700, you kind of don't notice this anymore, and it doesn't really happen anymore. But when you're still leveling up crew skills once a day, you get a few thousand for leveling up a crew skill. So if you are in a situation where you just don't have a lot of other good options, you could actually drop one of your crew skills, re-pick it up on the fleet, and just on every day, just make sure you do at least one of those missions. And that way when you log in, not only are you going to have the 5 crew skills one, but you'll also level up a crew skill, and you get several thousand from that one as well. If you're lower level, so if you're below 50, you can also get some points by taking a taxi, which works inside the Rishi Stronghold taxi, so that's pretty cool. It's only a few thousand, but it makes things easier sometimes. And also, if you're at lower levels, you can also give gifts for the first gift that you give to a companion, regardless if it gives you influence or not. In fact, a 0 influence gift will actually will actually pop that one as well. And that one's actually not too bad. That's actually a few thousand. It's a little bit more than like the taxi one, but it's not a lot either. So, and until 50, there is no reputation bonus, or there's no conquest objective for reputation until you hit level 50. So those tips are actually really useful, and if you're on like new to a server and you don't have those at all. So that's one thing. Another way to get especially a large amount of conquest points is for opening new strongholds or opening new wings within a stronghold. There's a limited amount of times you can do this, of course, but if you just do it once a day or even once a week, then you can just kind of, and if you have the credits, then you can do it that way. So when you do this, you're also increasing your conquest bonus up to 150% as well. So once you get to 150%, you can decide whether you need to do that anymore, but that's still an option even after you've hit the 150,000 cap, because you do get a large amount of conquest for either opening a stronghold or opening a wing within a stronghold. There's a couple of things to say about that. So when I did do one of the transfers to Chez Vizsla, and so I have a few million credits on that one, at least, because, I put it like right at 15 million credits. But then I was like, oh yeah, I'm not getting my conquest gains every day because I can't get to 25,000 because I don't have the 150% bonus. So what you do is you can go to the fleet, and then you click on the things that let you buy the stronghold. And because you've moved over your legacy, you also get certain benefits to that. Now, if you've only ever opened up strongholds with credits, then there's still a benefit, but it's not as strong. But what you can do is, okay, first of all, let me say the other way. So let's say you have unlocked some strongholds with cartel coins. Then anything you've got that way, you can just unlock. Like, you'll just click on it and you'll be able to unlock it because you've done it with cartel coins, which means it's for every server. And so all you have to do is go to the fleet, and you can just you just unlock it, and you'll get all the parts that you unlocked with cartel coins. But let's say you've done it with credits, which I've done a lot of. What I found is when I then went to Chez Vizsla, once I clicked on the thing that said, you want to get this to open up a particular stronghold, then when I did the initial payment of a few million to unlock the stronghold, it actually unlocks the entire stronghold, like all the wings and stuff. So it really got the 150% bonus very quickly that way. So it's still a few million credits. It's still going to be really expensive, especially on the Chez Vizsla server, but you'll actually be able to get like entire strongholds open, and you'll get large amounts of your conquest bonus unlocked that way if you've done that on other servers and you've got the whole stronghold unlocked. So that works pretty well. So one other option, because there's not a lot of reputation items in the game normally, like outside of Galactic Seasons, where you have these reputation items that you can gain from Amity and Faye and all those. And in fact, when you're doing that, you should really do it one at a time. Like, just turn in one little token at a time, and that way you get the maximum number of tokens, and you can just do one a day, and that way you get the most days worth. So that's one thing. But also, before the Galactic Seasons happened, there wasn't a ton of reputation items to click. And I think that's part of why the reputation bonus stayed so high for as long as it was. Because, first of all, you have to do something that nets you a reputation gain. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that a lot of them, the reputation just kind of comes automatically. You don't get a chance to actually click on anything because it just automatically pops your reputation. And so you can get it for that day, but you can't save it up and do it for other days. You have to actually do that action, and then you're just done. But if there is something that you can find that does give you a reputation thing that you can hold on to, then you can just wait and sit on it and then pop it later. For example, there are reputation items for the Galactic, the cartel market people that come from sometimes from the Ultimate Packs. In fact, it happens a fair bit from the Ultimate Packs. And then what you do is you can just keep them in the inventory or in the item stash either one works. And then if you need one, you can grab one out and pop it, assuming you haven't maxed out that the cartel market reputation. You can just pop one and that'll be your daily. So that's one way. Another way is you can actually take out Faye or Amity or one of the other ones that does have the companions, and then use them as your active companion, because if you use them as your active companion, that's how you can get reputation even now. And it's unfortunately pretty, they're not a lot, it doesn't drop a lot. Like I did a whole daily with Amity the other day just to kind of see how that worked, and I think I got one drop, or maybe it was two. And so that's, even if you turn that in one at a time, that doesn't exactly give you a lot of days, but at least it gives you a chance to sort of get ahead and get some reputation items that way. So that's the other way. So if you and also if you've done any Galactic season from previous seasons, then those stay in those, the dark seeds and the Fae, all those things, those stay in your inventory. And then you can just go talk to the person on the ship, or you go to the area on the fleet and you get those reputation items. So those are the different ways to get the reputation. It is going to be a lot harder to get the 25,000 per day, as just sort of a login thing, but it is doable, and it's just not as easy. Like it was really easy when it was 43,000, because you could just pop, if you had a lot of reputation items, you could just pop one and you'd be done for the day. Now it's like, okay, you're definitely going to have to get a companion up. You're definitely going to have to, probably do the reputation as well. And then you have to do some of the crew skill stuff and decoration and maybe the taxi if you're low level and all that stuff. It's all very busy. But anyway, so that's my tip of the week. So it's a big mishigash of what to do now that the reputation items have been nerfed. If you're just looking to get the reputation daily, the conquest daily for Galactic season. So there you go. It's a lot. I'm finding that if I'm really good and I do those every day, I can basically do like 2 people a week, and that's no more than that. I was able to get like 4 a week pretty easily, even with some overlap and stuff like that, and a little bit of extra in case I mess something up or whatever. Because sometimes you'll log in and this character's already hit 100,000 for their conquest, but so I don't really want to do them for this week anymore. But when I did log into them, so the crew skill one is gone, and also oops, I did the influencer as well, because they happened to pop the influence from the crew skills. Oops, and that's not really possible anymore, so I have to be a little more careful, but it's not really a big deal. Anyway, so if you have a tip, send your tip to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show for a chance to win a Tonfon M83R droid pet code or M2B9 droid code courtesy of Broadsword, plus a 450cc code. So there we go, and that'll bring us on to the Mind Trap and our question. Let me have a little water here. All right. So the question we asked was, now that you've seen Capero, what is your preferred main benefit for a Galactic season? So we had 3 options: the Stronghold, the Companion, or just other, in case someone just said that there's something else they'd rather have as a sort of a main focus for the Galactic season. So Stronghold, Companion, or other. Stronghold, and thank you everyone who voted, who reposted, and all that good stuff. So Stronghold was ahead, but not by that much. 44.1% said Stronghold, with Companion coming in close at 41.9%, which is pretty interesting to me. I did vote for Stronghold. I kind of thought Stronghold might win going away on this, because Strongholds are a little rarer. They're a little more, they're definitely a lot of work. I've got to assume that although Companions are not easy by any means, Strongholds it seems to me that that's got to be more work than a Companion. Not that I really know, but it just feels that way. But yeah, Companion 41.9%, so only less than 3% less. So that's really good. In fact, it's only a little bit more than 2% less, really. So Stronghold did win, but Companion was right there too. So people like both. For other, a lot of people did actually reply. 14% did say other, and then a fair number of them actually did reply as well. For example, Alex Geslin said the tech fragments and CC conquests and Galactic Season tokens are all cool, but the armor, weapon, and decos are what I like best. In other words, the boxes that you get to open. I will say I wish they'd offer both a companion and a stronghold in the season. And I'm very happy there's not a reputation track this season. I guess there are a lot of reputation tracks in the game. Personally, I love the reputation tracks because it makes the dailies a little easier, but hey, it's all good. Let's see. Love the stronghold and companions we've got so far, but I love the armor sets we've been getting the most. So yeah, there are new armor sets with every Galactic Season as well as new weapons. And yeah, so sometimes, it's easy to fall in love. You find a good look in a Galactic Season. It's like, yeah. And let's see. She has said, I like this. I like the Stronghold, but I'm also happy for them to keep trying different things. I enjoyed Galactic Season 5 as well. And Galactic Season 5 was like a little different as well, because there wasn't really a companion. There was a reputation track, but there wasn't really a companion. And Paul said, I want a companion, but please let us change our clothes. I hate Amity and whatever was before it. The Kubaz was decent because I could change his clothes to what I wanted. And the Golden Droid was okay. And I want my own Evokai. Got an Evokai fan, apparently. It would have been nice to have a Chiss companion with this Galactic Season, said Empress Valen. That makes sense. I mean, we've got the Capero Stronghold, and so having a Chiss companion for it would make sense. Cody said, I like the companions. They should do a companion again with mission unlocks as you level through the season. So that's kind of going more to the old style that we saw in pretty much all of the first 4 seasons. Let's see. Rebel Jajai said, it's the additional stuff for me as much as I love decorating strongholds. Themed outfits, weapons, and decorations are what hook me, and I'd take interesting personal decos over a new companion. Yeah, it's true. It's kind of nice when there is a strong theme for the Galactic Season and it shows up in, the look of the weapons, the look of the outfits, the decos as well. For me, I think Faye, with the whole gambling thing, I think that one felt pretty good, like thematically. Like the guns were sort of shiny, and sort of like the weapons were all sort of like fancy, like kind of glittery, sort of that razzle dazzle that casinos tend to have. And you had the game, the game. Can't remember the right term, but the game warden or whatever. Not game warden, that's the wrong term, but the game boss, the pit boss, I think it was for one of them, for the outfits and stuff like that. So I like that a lot. Let's see. And some people just like the crate rewards. I'm kind of, I get it, because like I always have fun with the companions and I love the Capero Stronghold. But yeah, opening up the boxes is always fun. Let's see. The only one I've really used so far is Faye. I didn't care much for the story, but I dug the appearance, and I like the Capero Stronghold. Even its extremely low ceilings. It's still one of the best looking ones. I think a reward track with CM weapon and armor choice would be nice. Okay. And let's see. And let's see. Yeah, I mainly care about cartel coins, cartel items, and currency. Everything else is optional. I have enough companions. Don't care about strongholds. Fair enough. Yeah, so a lot of people weighing in on that, which was a lot of fun. So we've got, yeah, and interest. Like I said, I thought strongholds would be kind of win it going away, but actually companions was basically only 2% away, and they were both in the 40s, so they're both equally loved and as sort of a main focus of the season. So there you go. Interesting. We'll have to see where that goes from now on. And it was sort of interesting when they did the last season and there wasn't a companion, but there was sort of like there was a reputation track, and you're sort of like figuring out what was going on. So we'll see. All right, well, let's get on to the holo feed. So there was a little 741 mini update. whatever it was. It just fixed an issue with the Canorco B5C mount not being able to be writable at level 1 for some people. And also, they made Galactic Season 6 blueprint fragments now bind on pickup. And they had an article. They have also an article later on about the blueprint fragments themselves as well. So we'll talk about that when it comes. So Galactic Season 6, Building a Foundation, well named since the Capera Stronghold is the first season with a stronghold. And there's, it's funny, I have not actually done like the full story yet. Like I've unlocked the first bit of the story, but then you have to do 3 flashpoints. And I actually did do the 3 flashpoints, but then I haven't gone back because I was going to wait then to actually go back to finish the bit of story. And I can, but I just haven't because I was going to do that on stream, and then I've been doing other things for my stream with Rogue and everything else. So I'll have to actually go back and see what's going on with the story, because all I've done really is unlock the stronghold, checked it out, and then clicked on the person, did the little mini conversation, and then it turns out we need to do some flashpoints to complete it. And I did the flashpoints off stream, but have to go back and actually get that done. All right, so reputation track. Building a Foundation will not feature a reputation track. However, there's still an item to collect in similar fashion to previous seasons. For this season, the items are called Blueprint Fragments. They can be sold for credits and are primarily used for achievement tracking. Progress is granted when a player collects them, and they will stop dropping once the season's achievement has been unlocked. So yeah, so you won't even get them after that. They're worth 1,000 a piece, so at least they're worth a little bit, when you do get them. But yeah, Reputation Conquest objective. The conquest points for the Reputation Conquest objective was reduced, and new objectives have been added to balance the time, effort, and points granted. And there was a more in-depth thing that Eric Musco did later on about this, so we won't talk about that quite yet, but we're getting there. Date Night is now is now alive. The Date Night companion missions are a new narrative feature debuting with game update 741. For the launch of Date Night in 741, we're starting with 4 companions available to all players. They include Theron Shan, Lana Beniko, Koth Vortena, and Arkan, former Eternal Emperor Arkan, each with their own unique scene that exemplifies their character. I have done all of these on stream. So how that works then is it starts off, assuming you are, and they give you a little bit more information, but basically you have to have made them the active romance, which usually it's like you'll see a little warning sign that if you continue, this will start a romance with this character, and then you can't have overwritten it by like let's say you do, Lana or Theron or Koth in Chapter 9, when you can choose any of those if you've been flirting with them at all. So you choose one of them, but then maybe in Chapter 13 you get Vet back, and Vet was your initial story romance, and you decide to go back to her and you restart the romance with her, then that will overwrite the other one. So, but anyway, you have to have an active romance with one of those characters. If you do, then after Chapter 9, and assuming you haven't assuming the companion is actually available, like they haven't gone away in any sort of sense, for story purposes, then it'll show up as a Date Night option in your alliance alerts. You click on that, it'll take you to your ship. It's going to take you to your character's bedroom on that ship, like captain's quarters, which is basically your character's quarters. And right next to the bed, or on the bed in some cases, there'll be a little holo communicator with and now it'll have a little triangle. And those are actually weekly. You can actually do them over and over again. At first it says you can do them twice. That's not really quite accurate. It can be repeated, but it's actually weekly. And so it won't ever show up as an alliance alert again. Just once you've done it once, then if you ever want to do it again, just go back to your ship and click on it again in your character's bedroom, and that's where it will be. I won't talk anymore about exactly what they do, but they do have 4 different dates with 4 different feels. Like they're going for different kinds of things, different kinds of styles of dates, and kind of fitting to the character who's doing them. And yeah, I think they're all really fun. They've said in the past, and it doesn't say it here in this particular one, but they've said in the past their goal for a cadence for new ones, because they do want to do more date nights for other romance characters, it will be like 1 or 2 per galactic season. Since we just started this season, we have to finish this season and then do the time between seasons before we can expect any more. And then there's going to be hopefully 1 or 2. That's their expected cadence. So it'll be a while before we see any more, but this is pretty good. And I think it makes their logic makes sense. Like, choose ones that any character can actually do, because every character can actually romance all 4 of these characters. So that makes sense. And I don't know, who will be coming back next, but obviously, it'll have to be when the voice they have to bring the voice actor back and all that stuff. In fact, to do these date nights, they also had to do all the companion, or all the different class stories characters, as well as Arkin and Theron and Lana and Koth. So yeah, really, really busy. A lot involved. So good stuff, though. Definitely check them out. Totally worth checking out. I've actually done them all twice, because it said this this mission can be done twice, 2 more times at first, which it's not really quite accurate, but because of that, I was curious, so I tried to do it twice, and then it wouldn't let me until there was the weekly reset, and then I did it again. It really is the same one, but then you can choose different choices if you want, to see kind of like how it feels if you do it differently. A couple of them were really quite different, really felt different, like depending on how you chose it too. So it might be worth doing that as well. Right. The Galactic Trade Network Droid Legacy unlock is unlocked. I haven't done this yet. But now, just like, you can kind of grab your legacy storage or your character storage. You can also do a GTN, which is kind of cool, in some ways it might be kind of nice. Like, if you do a lot of GTNing and you want to pick up the credits and stuff like that, you can't do that from the mail anymore. So that's not a mail thing. Now you actually need to be at a GTN. So for people like that who do a ton of GTNing, that might actually be valuable. I haven't found any real need for it yet. But yeah. And it's definitely for people, it's definitely a credit sink. It's 3.5 million credits, and a legacy level of 5 or 400 CCs. And this is per character. Also, the character has to be level 20. So that's 60-minute cooldown. If you want to lower it to 45, the character player level has to be 50. The legacy level has to be 10, and it's another 250 CCs in addition to the 400. Another 7 million credits on top of the 3.5. Yeah. And then level 3, which will lower the cooldown to 15 minutes. The player level has to be 80. The legacy level has to be 20, another 250 CCs, and another 15 million credits. So yeah, it's 25.5 million credits for all 3 levels, or 900 cartel coins. So a lot. It's a lot. They are not making it cheap. I don't know how often I will do this. I will probably do it at some point, but I haven't done it yet. Let's just put it that way. Let's see. Ancient armaments. They call it ancient armaments. Yeah, I'm always calling it fitted, because all of them seem to start with the word fitted on the name of the armor that drops. So when armor drops now, a lot of times, probably the majority of the time from what I've seen, it doesn't have any stats on it. Instead, it will be this fitted stuff. So the fitted armor, called ancient armaments, will show up, and then usually it's one piece. Apparently you can get a whole set to drop. I've never had that happen yet. It must be quite rare. Let's see. These are older sets that are usually not very available anymore. Either some of them are completely unavailable, some of them are sort of wildly difficult to get or whatever. I think most of them are just completely unavailable. It's like early looks from like PvP before there were seasons and stuff like that. It's like really old stuff. And because of that, some of them, and I think some of them might have been slightly updated, because like some of them you can tell it's like the older stuff, and it's a little it's like not necessarily the most crisp looking models or anything, but some of them have like these little crisp bits on them or something, and it feels like they might have gone back and like polished them up a little bit while they were sort of getting this set up. But they still like look like the old sets as well. So I'm not sure exactly what they did to change anything. But anyway, so yeah, I've got a whole character set up that I'm going to be trying to get all the different sets available, just because why not? You can't sell them, unfortunately. The fitted ones are not even worth 1 credit, and so you have the option of deleting them or keeping them somewhere. So in my case, they are bind on equip. I don't know. You can't GTN them. I'm not sure if you can trade them or not, but I don't think you cannot GTN them. I tried. I don't know if you can direct trade them. But yeah, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how often you can get the whole armor sets. And apparently this is also going to be a login reward, so maybe the login rewards will be more commonly like a whole set, I would hope, because like one piece of random armor doesn't feel like much of a daily login reward. In fact, you get a lot of it in the game right now. You're also getting them, I noticed, from treasure boxes. I haven't done every level, but I've done 11 and 10. I normally do those anyway when I happen to be on that character, because if you delete the 11 and 10 gear, you can get some tech points and some scrap and some comms, and sometimes you'll get like Warzone comms as well. In this case, though, now that I'm doing it post this drop, we're starting to get the fitted gear, and it seems to be somewhere around the 50 to 60% rate. So about less than half the time you'll get actual gear with stats on it that you can still delete for tech points, comms and scrap and all that, and like a little bit more than half the time it's fitted gear, which you can't really do much with. It kind of makes the lockboxes feel a little bad, because like they don't really do the job that they were initially set up to do, which is to like help characters gear up, especially if you were like using your treasure hunting or your treasure hunting boxes as a way to actually gear up while you're leveling up. I don't know how often the lower level boxes drop fitted gear, though. If it's about the same, though, it's gonna make it pretty rough, because getting fitted gear out of those at lower levels is really not going to be helpful at all. Anyway, so so if that's another tip of the week, if you are looking for the tech points from those lock boxes, it's not nearly as efficient anymore. It's pretty ugly now. So yeah, you can still also get occasionally it drops a gift instead, a companion gift, which is sometimes green, sometimes blue. Maybe it can drop purple, but I don't remember. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Let's see. So, character transfers. Outfits will now be included when characters are transferred between servers. Yay! That's pretty cool. So yeah, which is really nice. Like, especially if you're not like just doing it to move your legacy and some credits, but you're actually like, say you live in Australia, you've been playing on another server, you really want to play on Shea Vizsla, and so you transfer a character you really like. It'll be nice not to have to redo all your outfits. All right. 741 launch also allowed the Shea Vizsla server transfers. 15 million credit cap per character. The character must be level 20. The player must have been subscribed before January 2nd, 2024. You'll get 16 free transfers to Shea Vizsla server. I did one. That transferred the legacy and 15 million credits. That's probably all I'm going to do. I might do another one, I suppose, just because credits are so hard to come by. But yeah, I haven't decided. That's probably all I'm going to do for now. Free transfers available for the next 30 days only. However, this was like a week ago, so there's less than a month to go. For the next 90 days, all subs will get a 50% discount for transfers to the Shea Vizsla server, regardless of whether you got the free ones or not. If you didn't get the free ones, you can still get a 50% discount right now. But also, it works for the other people who either run out of their free transfers or the timer has gone after the 30 days have passed. Let's see. Paid transfers will still cost 1,000 cartel coins per transfer for non-subs. This is also the default price after the promotion period ends. The credit and they also said the credit and character level requirements detailed above will still apply to these transfers and all future transfers. So they're never going to allow Shea Vizsla to just have high credit transfers in. So that's interesting. All right, let's see. And then there's a bunch of other patch notes, and like most of them, you don't really necessarily want them. They're minor bug fixes that are not really, we don't really need to talk about on the show here. So let's move on to some of the other posts that they made regarding this. Let's see. There's that again. They did add some new things to the cartel market. The Gothic Master Armor, which is really awesome. Very much Black Knight in its normal state. If you don't dye it, it's all black, and it looks like it's very much a Black Knight. It's very cool. The Prime Centurion Vibroblade is actually kind of cool. It looks like a gladius. So gladiators in Rome, the term gladiator basically means wielder of a gladius, and the gladius was a type of sword. It's basically kind of a medium to short sword, usually with almost no hilt, and it's kind of a very straightforward sword. I think the idea was that the gladiators we're given a lot of stuff to make things more defensive because they wanted everything to be offensive in the ring. But in any case, this is the Prime Centurion Vibroblade is very much in that style with essentially zero cross any sort of hand protection for the above the hand and below the blade. And but it's also high tech looking because there's some glowing sort of lightning-y effects. It looks really nice actually. There's a Capero themed utility bundle, so if you want utilities, so GTN and all that sort of thing that look more like Capero then you can use that. I assume it would look pretty good in Yavin 4 and Rishi as well. That sort, it's because it has that sort of wood jungly kind of feel to it. The Gothic Master Dual Saber and Lightsaber are both pretty nice, and Prime Centurion armor is pretty wild, especially the helmet, which kind of has this sort of weird disturbing face thing built in. It's very nice. A lot of this is I believe some of it's from some of the Star Wars shows that have come out and stuff like that. All right, moving on. We've already talked about the date nights, and so for date nights, again, the player has officially unlocked a romance with that character. The companion is currently available in the story. They are weekly repeatable missions, basically. After a number of playthroughs of the missions, players will be granted a unique title and a decoration that embodies their special dates. So doing it more than once or twice there's actually a reason to do it as well. The date night will not affect your relationship status, but they'll always be available while the romance with the companion is active. Okay, and then let's see, we have a little bit more. Oh yeah, the Galactic Season, this S100 boxer mount. I haven't gotten there in the rewards yet, but it looks interesting. It's kind of cool looking. It's a little different from any other sort of vehicle. You're still sort of riding it motorcycle style, but it has a different feel to it. It looks pretty cool. I kind of like that one. And let's see. There's going to be a pearlescent purple and metallic gold die. And let's see. That's way at the end, so I have not seen that one yet. Well, I mean, I've previewed it, but obviously I don't have it yet. The weapons available have a distinct sort of look to them. They're sort of rectangular. The basic ones are like metal colored, and then the higher level ones have sort of like this yellowish cast to them. Yeah. Let's see. And then they do kind of talk about some of the other things that are available. We've talked about them on the show. They give the whole list of like what's going to be on the vendors. So if there's something that you're really needing from the vendor, it's a good idea to actually go to swotor.com. You can actually look up and see like what week it's going to be, and then that way you can know when you're going to need to go to the vendor to get something unlocked. They also tell you exactly what the the Galactic Season weeklies will be as well. And there we go. And here we go. Now we've got and then they put out some articles about some of these issues or some of these things that have been going on. So the new armor drops, the ones I call them the fitted ones, because all of the names say fitted at the beginning of the armor name. All right, and I didn't write down who did this one. I think it was Jackie though. Hey folks, just wanted to pop in real quick and give you some more info about these since we haven't released all the details. What are these exactly? So the armors and weapons, and there are weapons. I've gotten like one. They're pretty rare. All these armors and weapons are new versions of existing ones that used to have randomized stats, and that there was no other way to acquire their appearance in the game aside from existing world drops. Okay, so this is old world drops as well. They were no longer available to trade on the GTN due to the back-end changes, which is true. We've noticed that there's a lot of times you try to sell a bit of armor and it just won't let you anymore. And there are others that may not have been tradable at all, and there are a lot of them. Hundreds of weapons and over 2,000 armor pieces. The sheer amount is why we didn't post a detailed list. The Ancient Armaments Login Reward Calendar. This reward calendar will operate very similar to our 3 existing reward calendars, complete with achievements and various items available on the track. This has been added to the rotation of login calendars, so it may not show up right away. The big change to this one is it will include a chance to get some of the new versions of previous appearances. There will be a weapons pack and an armors pack on the calendar. The weapon pack will give you a fitted weapon from the list of new weapons. The armor pack will give you a complete set of one of these armor sets, so it will be a complete set, so that's good. The packs will be legacy bound, but the contents will still be bind on equip. I don't understand the bind on equip thing. I guess once you find a set you like, because it's bind on equip, I hope you only want it on one character, because it's bind on equip and you're gonna have to find it again if it's something you want to do again. World drops. Many of these have been difficult to acquire due to requiring specific levels or planets or various other rules. The new ones can drop in any world drop. World drops will be single pieces of armor or a weapon. You can still get the normal randomized stat world drops. These drop in addition to them. However, because we're adding all these new items to the normal drop pool, they have no vendor value. So if you want credits for them, you'll need to do some trading. Well, I guess you can do that, but you can't do it on the GTN. You'll have to do it live. Oof. If you don't want to bother with all that, you can always destroy them. They do not disassemble into anything. Rarity. In both cases, the packs as well as the world drops, higher quality items will be rarer. Premium is the most common, followed by prototype, then artifact. And I've noticed that as well. Hey, Dread. Because they can drop at any level, they should appear quite a bit more frequently than many of our other armor world drops. There you go. Collections. The items will not be in collections. They will, however, be bind on equip, which means they can be traded or sold on the GTN. No, they can't. Or at least when I tried, I was not allowed to sell it on the GTN. I wonder if that's a known bug. A big part of why I wanted to get these in the game was to make up for the random stat appearance items no longer being tradable on the GTN due to our backend changes. I'm guessing that that's just a bug and that hopefully they're going to fix that. Because when I tried it, at least, I could not actually sell it. I will try again. Maybe it was one particular item. Usually I'm pretty careful not to accidentally bind them, but maybe it got bound somehow. I don't know. Hey, Rerude. You have 11 cartel coins and Treek is 500? Yeah. All right, so interesting. So they are intended to be GTNable, so that's interesting. I have no idea. We'll have to try again, see what happens with that. Let's see. I actually made a note about this one. The GTN on the Starforge was actually what forced the closure of Starforge for a few hours. So there was one morning where Starforge was put down on purpose, closed on purpose by Broadsword. There was a message from Jackie Co afterward. Apparently, there's a GTN issue where purchases were then not showing up to be claimed. So they wanted to stop that immediately, because obviously if you let people play, but you also let people, that means other people are going to run into this issue, and that's just going to mean lots and lots of trouble for, all the people who have to deal with the folks who are saying, hey, I just bought something and it didn't show up. Anyway, they found the issue and cleared it after a few hours. And there you go. Let's see. From Joe Stramaglia of Broadsword on the non-rep items for this Galactic season. So yes, we are seeing reports from folks who are confused with how Galactic Season 6 currency functions. This was not originally included in the Galactic Season 6 article, but the two intended changes below will be reflected in the patch notes as well. Reputation track. Galactic Season 6 does not have a reputation track like the previous seasons. There's still an item to collect, the way you collected reputation currency in the past. Excuse me. However, it's for achievement tracking only, and progress is granted when you collect it. You're safe to sell them for credits. It's worth noting that these will cease to drop when you've unlocked the achievement. Yeah, and I think it was also confusing because when you hover it, it says something about how there used to be data on it, but now there is not. And they were being very tongue-in-cheek. They were trying to say that whatever value there was, you don't have to worry about it, but it actually sounds like maybe the item was supposed to work or something and it doesn't anymore. It actually ended up being more confusing than helping. Even though it was meant to be just sort of a cute little thing to show you that, hey, there's an item. These items also do show on the reward track because the only reason you need them on the reward track is because it also does show up as one of the weeklies. Sometimes you need to collect like 20 of them for the weekly. So you can either do that by actually finishing weeklies, but if you're, say, short on time and you've unlocked some stuff, you can actually go back and just unlock them, pop, and get one of the weeklies real fast that way. Let's see, and then the Reputation Conquest objective. The amount of conquest points earned for the Reputation Conquest objective was reduced. This particular objective was overrepresented in objectives completed and needed to be balanced. We've added new objectives to help offset the loss that encourage you to play Galactic Seasons in the same manner that the Reputation one did, but lowered the effect that the Reputation objective gave in its place. A very complex way of saying you're getting too many points for not doing enough, basically. So they balanced it out. I do think that, like, originally, like in season 1, when there was just the one reputation item, people that wouldn't have had stuff backed up from previous seasons ready to go, ready to unlock real fast. There weren't a lot of reputation items in the game before that, so it made sense that the reputation one was a relatively difficult one. You wouldn't even be able to do it all the time regularly even. But once a few seasons had passed and there was a reputation track for everyone and you could actually get a whole bunch of the reputation items, then yes, it got a lot easier. And unfortunately, I'd love to do that, but now it's a lot harder. But that's how it is. Let's see. The changes will be reflected in future seasons as well. However, know that they can have an outsized effect on smaller guilds, and we'll be keeping a close eye on the data over time to make adjustments as needed. So they're talking about how some of these changes might be affecting how different guilds are able to make their get to the medium and large and small gains and all that sort of thing. Then Eric Musco put out an article as well, and 741A will be coming ASAP tomorrow. It did. It's the one that had that the bug to the one vehicle and blah blah blah. There's only a couple things on it. 7.4.1b is right on the horizon, targeting early to mid next week, followed by 7.41c in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're tracking a variety of emerging issues for these patches, such as ancient ornaments and conquest and rep changes. I'll be back later today or early tomorrow with a follow-up post, which is good because he did. Let's see, chiming in, what an idea to fix the mount for the join the fight bundle. Okay, here we go. The servers are back up. There it is. Okay, so where's the rep track? Simply put, the intended functionality of the rep track does not pair well with the functionality of Galactic Seasons. For us, we want a rep track to be something that a player can engage with over a long period of time, to work through, earn rewards and titles, and so on. Since a Galactic Season is only available for a limited time, we didn't want to push into a FOMO feeling or anything like that, fear of missing out feeling or anything like that. We want rep tracks to be tied to things like daily areas. However, there's a similar expectation of those items being on the track, of those achievements being earned during the season, etc. And so as a middle ground, we replace the rep items with the blueprint fragments, which could serve a similar purpose. The problem here is that our messaging and overall user experience for these could use some work. We didn't communicate this change clearly up front, and more importantly, blueprint fragments themselves didn't do a great job of communicating what they were or what their purpose is. Going forward, it's our intention to stop doing rep tracks for Galactic Seasons and reserve them for content where it makes more sense, like daily areas. So it sounds like they're going to hardly ever, or maybe never ever, use rep tracks for Galactic Seasons. Interesting. And since you get the rep items, usually you don't get to hold on to them and just pop them when you want. That means you're going to actually have to get the reputation reward by actually just going out and like doing dailies or whatever at a daily area. The conquest change. This is surely the place where we saw the most feedback here. First of all, why did we make the change? Well, the objective is a bit outsized in how many points you get relative to the effort. That's true and not true. It's true that just popping a reputation item is pretty easy, but you always had to do things in order to get those reputation items, so yeah. I do know that, you can get a fair number of reputation items from the Galactic Seasons ones, especially if you do like one at a time, like I like to do. So I guess technically, relative to that effort, maybe it wasn't, that difficult. Anyway, not that we don't want a range of objectives, some of which can be completed very easily and quickly, but this objective was a very large amount of points for what was required of you, and that's ultimately why we nerfed it. In connection to the first section, although we lower the points from this conquest, our goal was to add in new objectives so that players who were jumping in for quick sessions and progressing through Galactic Seasons could then also be gaining conquest points. The new objectives focus on gaining GS levels. So there is, so you can get conquest objectives, which is from gaining the Galactic Season levels. That's, kind of becomes a little of a bit of a snake chasing its tail because anyway, gaining objectives to gain Galactic Season levels, and the Galactic Season levels give you objectives anyway. But it's all very, very complicated. Now that's being said, he continues, we definitely hear your feedback. We know we hit this objective pretty hard. Though I may have needed to pull it in bounds, we're actively discussing what adjustments we can make, and I'll let you know once I have those details. And where was the patch note? Or as he put it, but where was the patch note? Okay, so before I peel back the curtain a little, I want to get something out of the way. We didn't try to hide any of this. It was just missed, and I'll tell you how in a minute. We know that a nerf like this is never fun. You're going to discover it on your own, and you having to discover it on your own adds much more friction to the situation. But to be clear, in fact, I did, like the first time I did it, I was like, okay, my daily should be done, and then I always double check. And it's like, oh, I didn't. Oh, but the reputation and the influencer were both done. Why haven't I gotten the 25,000 yet? And it's like, oh, I only got 8,300 or whatever it was for it. Ooh, yeah, that got nerfed. Anyway, to be clear, any change that is player-facing should be communicated to you, whether that's through patch notes, social media, forums, or some combination of the above. A change that affects you that is missed is never intentional. I know y'all appreciate some behind the scenes when we can, and this is a good opportunity. So here goes. Let me walk you through how our patch notes are built to illustrate how this was missed. And amusingly, a little bit of how Musco of the past and Musco of the present combined for this one. Because remember, he used to be the community manager. Now he's, like the one of the lead producer people. Also, usual reminder that I'm going to be doing a bit of oversimplifying here, so don't think this is 100% one-to-one, but to be illustrative. So when we pull patch notes, we do so in mostly two ways. Highlights. One is highlights. These are the big features we know and track across a whole lot of teams, usually have marketing blurbs written for them, blogs, and so on. And part two, bugs. The important one for this section, we pull our bug fixes internally based on a query that Musco, community manager of the past, helped write. This pulls from our internal tracking of all the bug fixes we made for a particular release so that Jackie and the live team can convert those into patch notes. Now fast forward. As of late, we've been really trying to squeeze in more stuff when we can, and often the stuff is small. So not a whole big feature, but also not us just fixing a bug. From a project management standpoint, those things are tasks. This is something Musco, producer of the present, has been helping to drive internally. You can see this in things like Ancient Ornaments or the new Legacy perk. Well, when we're building our patch notes, as I already described, we're typically looking at our highlight features and bugs, thanks to Musco of the past. And in that query, we now realize we are missing some tasks. In fact, both of my examples of tasks from above, Ancient Armaments and the new Legacy perk, were missed in our first internal draft of the patch notes until we caught them on review. You can probably see where this is going. The changes I've been talking about in this thread were all captured in tasks, and so when we were writing the patch notes, they were just missed and then weren't caught on internal review. As you can already guess, we're updating our process to make sure we're throwing a better net on catching those tasks in the future. So this is a long post, and I've thrown quite a lot of information at you. Thank you all for the continued feedback, and I'll pass on any more information as I have it. So it sounds like it's sort of like it was a big enough thing to make its own task, but then it wasn't the kind of task that usually gets put into the actual patch notes, and so it ended up becoming its own category that never got caught, and so they're having to figure out a better way to catch these sort of middle things. That's interesting. It's always fun to see behind the scenes stuff, even little things like this. So there you go. So now we know a little bit more about both of those. And then I think this one's for Jackie. Jackie wanted to put together a short, I should have put down who wrote this one, but I didn't. A short checklist / troubleshooting guide. We're seeing reports of players being unable to get past the key art loading screen. So for security programs, be sure to add the game and launcher onto the allow list for any security programs you use. Depending on what programs you're using, you'll have to look up how to add SWTOR executables to the allow list. Adding only one or the other may or may not allow the game to play correctly. Subscriber versus preferred or free-to-play accounts being able to log in. There are some reports of players with subscriber accounts being unable to log into the game. However, if they create a new account, the new account is able to log in. We recommended that impacted accounts delete the settings folder that are typically found here, and then you should go to swotor.com and find this note, because reading it out isn't all that helpful. But anyway, you can tell that there's a way to do that. Before doing this, back up your files in case this is not the root cause for the issue. Also, do you meet the system requirements for SWTOR? I think they included this partly because they had to update it recently. I say recently, but I think it's been more than a year ago. Because if you don't, then the game may not run properly on your machine. Windows 10 or later, 64-bit, with an Athlon 64X2 dual-core 4000 or better, or an Intel Core Duo 2.0 GHz or better, 6 gig of RAM. They'll require Republic requires a video card with a minimum of 1 gig of onboard RAM, as well as support for Shader 3.0 or better, memory storage of 75 gigabytes, and internet connection, of course. And so, yeah, I've seen sort of, it's been, they're still like looking, because apparently a lot of people are having issues for some reason, logging in, like not a lot, like not enough to like crash the game or anything like that, but like apparently like a fairly large number of people have been having issues logging into the game. So they're still trying to figure out exactly what's going on. But they did do that just so that you can, hopefully if it's one of those issues, and it probably is at least some of the time, you can fix it, because it's not really those aren't issues that are really fixable on their end. All right, let's see. And here we go. Yeah, first, thanks to everyone who's supplying info for us and answering the questions that the team has, and to investigating into this issue, the not being able to log in issue. Second, a fix has not been determined as of now. Please know this is a priority for the team. Third, the team has requested that the DXDiag files be sent to community support at swotor.com. Please only send in files if you are impacted by the issue of not being able to get past the loading screen, and please be ensured to include your account name. If the team needs additional info, they'll update the thread again. Lastly, we understand that the players impacted by this problem have not been able to get into the game since 7.4.1 went out, and we're working on plans to compensate those players. This will be executed after a fix has been made and deployed. I guess it makes sense, because if you're a sub especially, and you're not able to get in, then you're losing out on on time. So, all right. And there's also been a removal of timer achievements that are tied to master mode operations. And so there's a little report on this. We wanted to give you a glimpse as to what caused the change and what's happening behind the scenes. We typically do not openly talk about exploits. However, this is a unique situation, and we wanted to add more context to what transpired. In short, there was an operations bug that was being exploited that allowed players to clear story mode level ops under the guise of playing in master mode and earning master mode rewards. At the time the bug existed, and this is no longer the case, which is probably partly why they're able to talk about it now. At the time the bug existed, players that joined a group readying for a master mode run could leave the group, reset their phase as story mode, rejoin the group, and the entire instance the group was in would be set for story mode. The instance, however, would still look like the group was in master mode. Thus, it was possible for a group to run in a story mode op, but receive master mode rewards upon completion. In fact, for a period of time, it was possible for players to partake in this exploit whether they were aware of it or not. When 7.4.1 launched, titles were removed from players who completed master mode operations within that window of time. We are looking into the game data around all master mode kills, as some players, guilds, and groups are reporting that they did the achievement legitimately while the exploit was live. Currently, the appropriate teams are reviewing the accounts of all players involved with master mode runs prior to 7.4.1 going live to validate the legitimacy of the claims. This will take time to review and process. Yeah, pretty wild. So it's interesting how there can be bugs or exploits that you don't even know are occurring. Like you might even have accidentally done it yourself and without really realizing it. All right, let's see. If you've already picked up the Alliance, I already mentioned this earlier in the show, but the date night repeat missions are in the player's bedroom on their ship. So yeah, once it's an Alliance alert at first. If you've got an active romance with a companion who is still an active companion in the story, they haven't gone away for any reason or anything like that, and you haven't started a romance with anyone else, then it will be an Alliance alert in your Alliance alerts. But once you've done it once and you've gone to the ship and picked up the mission, then the repeat will just go straight to that. It's never an Alliance alert again. Finally, let's see, a couple things. Smooth Wolf wrote in to Utinimin, or my X-Men. It's been a while since I last wrote something. Wanted to give a thank you to Chill and KittyKissz for making OotiniCast the podcast that it is. Thank you. My tip of the week is to make as many X-Men characters as we can. And he's been feeling kind of burned and drained of SWTOR for a while, so he hasn't been on for a while. So, hey, DL Smoothwolf, hope you're doing okay. So yeah, I've certainly been doing my part. Like I said, I've been doing Magneto with Kitty, and now I've got the rogue character that I'm making. Also, there is Star Wars Acolyte. So there's a new series that's going to be coming out. It's premiering June 4th with 2 episodes. It is set in the High Republic period. This is the period that's sort of relatively new to Star Wars, and they've been putting out a fair number of books and stuff on it, but this is actually going to be a whole series set in that period. It was a very well made trailer, very interesting trailer. Definitely made me want to watch it for sure. Carrie-Anne Moss is in it, which is kind of cool. And so watch for her in that. You'll see her a couple times in that. I'm pretty excited about that. And then yeah, I saw someone made a little sort of detail of where it seems to be set inside the High Republic, and it sort of seems to be like set like a little bit past, like towards the end of the High Republic. So if I had to guess, it's kind of like, the Sith have been working for centuries behind the scenes, and this is like where they're first going to start to sort of like pop up here and there, and like they're sort of going to make their presence known a little bit. I mean, of course, Darth Maul sort of like has the famous scene, last we will, reveal ourselves to the Jedi. But we know that, over the centuries, they've sort of popped up here and there, and there was always, rumors and things that, that something might be happening. But maybe it's not, there are other dark people in the galaxy, so maybe it's not related to the rule of 2 Sith. Maybe there's some other dark side users of some sort that it's about instead. But anyway, it looks like it's, fairly close / towards the end of the High Republic period, so pretty interesting to see if that will be Sith related. Anyway, looking forward to it. Also, I noticed there was a Mirialan, which is kind of cool. It's not a species we've seen a ton of, but we've seen it actually like in the animated, but like in live we haven't seen it a lot. So yeah, I think that'll be it. It'll be interesting to see a Mirialan character there. Really looking forward to that. And there we go. So again, hope that everyone tells Kitty to feel better, because he's not feeling well. And we'll try to have Caber76 on. He was supposed to be on today, but work delayed him, so it's just me today, and I think we're good to go then. The next OotiniCast is going to be delayed as well. That'll be because of me. I'm meeting my wife. We're doing some traveling, and I'm sure I'll have some stuff to talk about when I get back. And because of that, the next OotiniCast will be a little delayed. So, but we'll have Caber back as soon as we can, preferably at the first OotiniCast once I'm back as well. So, I think we're good. That's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Ootini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satil Shan server, or in our Ootini Rage Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Ootini to join the Ootini channel, then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com, follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast, Mastodon @OotiniCast@mastodon.world. You can find contact details for us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes and the rest. We record the show live, usually bi-weekly, Wednesdays 4 p.m. Pacific, streaming at twitch.tv/OotiniCast. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you very much to the chat room. All right, and let's see. We've got some folks here. Let's see see if I can get a raid going here. Thank you for coming, everyone. I tried to acknowledge the chat a little bit. It's a little tricky when it's just me, but I do appreciate the folks coming in and chatting a little bit here. So let me see. If I go to the dashboard, I should be able to find someone to raid. And who's doing SWTOR that we know? How about if we do Ronan that? I think it's been a little while. Yeah, let's go say hi to Ronan that. Thank you for coming. Yeah, we'll get out the podcast proper tomorrow as usual, and hopefully Kitty will be feeling better and I'll be able to PvP with him in probably a couple of days. Here we go. All right, and let me go ahead and stop the stream and stop the recording.